I just knew I wanted more. And when you have a void that you feel like you can't fill or whatever, a job, another person, no one else can do that.
My goodness, you are power packed. What? Just from one, as you're talking, just from one seed of you saying yes to your gifting and your calling and the passion. Yeah. All these things out of that seed of your yes. Yeah. My goodness.
What I love about not working for corporate America is that I don't have to look forward to the weekend, look forward to my vacations, or dread Mondays. I get to do, not have to do, I get to do what I do every day.
Welcome to Activation Room. My name is Abi O Champion. The Activation Room is a faith-based mentor circle designed to equip, inspire, and activate women into their purpose and their assignment. Each episode, we're going to be featuring women in ministry, entrepreneurship, and community leadership who are leading with intentions, building with visions, and impacting lives through faith. The Activation Room is a space that will remind you that you are equipped, you are positioned, and it's time to move. Come into the room, let's get activated. My name is Abi O Champion. See you in a second. Hello.
Hi, Miss Abby, how are you?
I am good. Welcome to Activation Room. Yes, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we're going to start, and I want you to know, just let us have it. I want you to start with telling my audience who is Benita.
Okay.
Yes, I know, but I want them to know.
Okay. Well, I'm Benita James, and I am a Chief Impact Leader across multiple organizations, focused on driving human growth. And what that in essence means is that I focus on driving human growth in people and individuals, and also through organizations, and then also through the community. And so what that means is that as it relates to purpose, focus is people to focus on purpose for themselves. One of my organizations focuses on growth in your mindset around your health, which you have to be here health-wise in order to fulfill your purpose.
Of course.
And then, of course, drive the mindset of human growth for people to focus on the community and give back and love others. So that's what I focus on across my multiple organizations.
Yes, and I know all of it.
Yes.
And I know just your right hand, with Made for Ministry, that's exactly what you do. So I want you to start from the beginning. What was the journey like? How did you come to this space of, having passion for people to grow in what God has called them to grow in terms of their mindset? How did it all come to be? Have you always had the passion for, I know maybe overall for people, but what was the journey like?
Well, I would say in essence, my background has been in social sciences. So a funny thing is that I originally graduated from college because my bachelor's degree is in sociology. I thought I was going to go more into the caseworker type defects, working in social services type atmosphere. But God had another plan. I actually, 2 weeks after graduating from college, I actually started working for the Coca-Cola company. I went straight into corporate America, nothing like I thought it was going to be. So my journey started off very differently, but I also understand why, and you'll hear shortly. But worked for the Coca-Cola company in various roles. So in customer operations, service, did some regulatory compliance work, HR, and majority of my career centered around corporate sales and marketing with franchisees. So it was helping other franchisee operations to grow their business. So that was my journey for close to 20 years with the Coca-Cola company. But it got to a point where it's just kind of like, yes, this is great, but for those who are journeying through that corporate America type atmosphere, you feel a certain calling. You feel like it's not enough. I got to the point in my journey where I felt like I could do my job with my eyes closed. And you can only get so much accolades and praise for what you do. And that was probably because, like I always told all of the leaders that I worked under at Coca-Cola, is that, the reason why I perform the way I do is because I work for God, not for man.
That's right.
So I'm going to show up differently. I'm not going to show up just for a paycheck. I'm going to show up because this is where God put me. And I'm going to be a good steward over this great, amazing job that He's blessed me with. But again, when you begin to get to a point where you wake up every day and you still feel like there's something missing, that's one of the ways that you know there's a calling, there's a purpose that you need to fulfill. And so around the 2016, kind of 2017 range, I've always been wanting to know what my purpose was. I'm like, because I know it has to be more than this. Yes, everybody's like, oh my God, you work for Coca-Cola, then, the notoriety of that. But, you still, it doesn't matter. You still want to be able to fulfill purpose. And when you find that emptiness, you want to seek what that journey is like. And so for me, it was really praying and asking God, what is my purpose? And initially, when the Lord had me to discover it in 2017, early on, I asked God, I said, I've been asking for years, like, why now? Like, why did you just reveal my purpose to me now? And the response I received was, is that because you've been focused on everybody else but you. And my request for wanting to know my purpose was for selfish reasons, not to be able to give back. Because your purpose is to serve others. But I
Yes.
wanted to know my purpose because I wanted my own fulfillment of the freedom that comes with purpose. And so God said it's because you was focused on yourself and other people. So the self part was selfish because I wanted the freedom of having my purpose, which I now reap the benefits of. But also I wanted to didn't realize that me focusing on everybody else, I wasn't zoning in and taking the time to understand what my purpose was.
That is so interesting. So you're saying that you wanted to find out your purpose because of selfish reasons.
Yes.
So you're thinking your purpose is to like give you freedom.
Yes. And it
And
does.
yeah, ultimately it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
But God is turning around to let you know that yes, in your freedom of coming to your purpose is also the people that are also attached to your purpose as well.
Right.
So what did that look like when it dawned on you? What was God saying to you, like, at that point, in terms of, did you have like this big revelation? Oh, this is my purpose now. And what was it? I mean, did it like come, or you find out what that was along the way? What
No, it kind of came at that time. It kind of came
really?
really at that
Okay.
moment. It came at that time. And what it was is that I knew I had to go back to my roots, which was college, social services, helping people, the mental health space. So it brought me right back to the original thing. And so one of the things I started asking God, okay, what to do with this though? Because initially I tried to go back to get my master's in counseling because I thought that was the route that God wanted me to go. And so one of the reasons why I did not complete or finish my master's in counseling is because there was a roadblock, and it was an ethics roadblock. And I understand from a licensed professional counselor standpoint that, you can't bring your faith into sessions. There's certain things you cannot bring. And for me, in my spirit, for whatever reason, I couldn't understand why that hit a nerve with me. But of course, later, now fast forward to 2017, I realized that coaching was the route for me, mental health coaching, because there wasn't any regulations against like you able to bring your faith or whatever that was. And so I know it wasn't just like most people will go into a profession because of the money. But for me, I already knew like, the wisdom and knowledge that God had provided for me, that I knew that it was my calling. It was a God-given anointed gift. So it wasn't something that I focused on to drive me for money, but for how I'm going to be able to pour into others.
Other impact.
Yeah. And then I started to then pray and ask God, okay, so what does that look like? So I started looking at coaching schools like John Maxwell and all of these other big coaching schools to try to determine where should I go. And it was definitely not the school that I thought I was going to go to, because for me, I wanted to go straight into the transformational coaching piece. So I wanted to kind of skip all the levels and go straight to mastery. And so I ended up starting out at Health Coach Institute. And that was the school that I researched, that I landed on. God was like, here's where I want you to start. And so I'm going back and forth with God, like, I want to go straight into the mastery level. And so God said, but I need you to be a health coach first, because if a person is in good health, how can you focus on their life? So if they're not dealing well in their body and their health, so like if I come to you and say, hey, I want to help you reach your goals and be successful, but you're dealing with a chronic illness, your focus is going to be on that chronic illness, not on
Of
moving your life
course.
forward. So God
Yes.
had to show me is that you have to focus on a person's health first before you can deal with the mind in their life. And so that was very pivotal for me. And I started out there, and then I became a certified health coach, and then I became a certified life coach, and then I became a certified mastery coach. And at the master level, you deal with people's identity and limiting beliefs. And that is like the top tier in coaching. And then I did some emphasis in cognitive behavior therapy to be able to do that as well, to be able to deal more with the mind. But yeah, that's the journey that my purpose has taken me so far.
This is interesting because I didn't even know there's a layer to this. Because when you're talking mastery and transformation, I thought everybody wanted to, I mean, coaching is transformational in its own, but they're different zone. And I love how, because our bodies are capsule, is our suit on earth.
Absolutely.
Even yet we have the best, calling or gifting or whatever it is. If it expires, if this body expired, there's nothing you can do. So so you went from physical health, coaching, then to cognitive,
Life coaching.
life coaching, and what does that encompass?
Mastery is so life is encompasses everything. So it falls up under the umbrella of health. It falls under the umbrella of finances. It falls under the umbrella of love and relationships. It falls under the umbrella of career and business.
So it's everything.
And spirituality. So those are the 5 key components of a person's life. So when you look at life coaching, it really is a multidimensional wellness umbrella that you are working under. Even in life coaching, there are certain niches that people choose to focus on. But for me, I wanted to just deal with the whole person. And so that's why I focused on the 5 key aspects of a person's life when I went into the life coaching part of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So also, you mentioned that going to grad school for counseling, the faith factor was a point where so now with coaching, how are you able to, integrate that into the whole coaching aspect, faith-wise, like the spiritual side?
Right. So when I've been coaching one-on-one, what I like to focus on is not necessarily trying to get anyone to believe in the God that I serve, but is what I do is in coaching is help people to connect to something greater. Because whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Buddhist, whatever your religion is, you are still connecting with something greater. And so that's where I come from, the standpoint of their connection to something greater. So that's the standpoint that I come from. So I don't necessarily say like you have to be a Christian, or if you're not someone that believes in God, then I'm not going to work with you. I just meet you where you are and whatever you believe, because everybody believes in something greater. And I know even people may believe atheists because they don't believe in anything. They still believe in something. They have to have faith in something is going to help them do something, whether they identify or name it, if that makes sense.
So do you consider yourself a faith-based, counselor, mentor, coach?
I consider myself a holistic, multidimensional wellness coach. That's the best way I can put it, because I focus on all areas of your life and not just one area.
So how long have you been doing it?
This year will be 9 years.
Wow.
9 years.
And how is it in terms of, the journey? Do you feel God is calling you to, to expand beyond, what you're doing right now in that space?
So it's funny you should say that, because in the beginning, as I said, that I am a chief impact leader across multiple organizations,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So the Source of Hope was my foundational organization that I started in 2017. And the hope in the Source of Hope stands for helping other people evolve. So just as I'm helping other people evolve, your businesses has to evolve as well. So what has happened is that I created a new company that was really a spinoff of the Source of Hope. Because one of the things about business is that you don't want to convolute and have too many services or things going on in one business. So in praying about it and my involvement, one of the things that God had me to do was to create a new business that only focused on health and wellness. And so now the Source of Hope still does a level of coaching, but it's more of business coaching, financial coaching, leadership coaching. So it's more of the corporate side of business, not really more personalized. So we offer with the Source of Hope, empowering individuals, organizations. So we work with organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, helping the youth, their leaders work with businesses to help, their leaders grow. And, sometimes, there's low morale. So we come in and help with different programs with that. And then also the Source of Hope has also become an arm where we empower the community. And so we have community programs like we've worked with the community to help them understand like farming and wellness and different things like conservation. So to teach the community that, so we have connections and grants and programs that we collaborate with other partners to bring awareness in the community about certain things. So the Source of Hope have evolved into and expanded into a corporate arm. So that has been rebranded. Now comes last year, Good Health 365. So that's the company that evolved out of the Source of Hope. And so our focus and mission is for people to live well, be well every day of the year. So that includes you holistically. So that's where the mental health services come in. So we have the coaching, we have partners that does the licensed therapy for those who need to go deeper than just coaching. And we have products, health, like plant-based fruit straight from the farm. So we call them pharmaceutical products. So pharmaceutical products straight from the farm. So they're made with, grains. They're like food supplements. So you can't like overdose on any of them. And then we have some new technology that is neurobrain science technology that we have. So for people who don't like to take medicine, we have also alternatives that we have for them that don't like to take medicine. So we have brain science technology called super patches. And so, and that also helps with health and wellness. So that's what Good Health 365 is. So it became, again, a kind of an an evolvement or a spinoff of the Source of Hope, but to separate the two brands to make sure that we are laser focused with Good Health 365, everything health and wellness, mind, body, and soul. And then the Source of Hope became the corporate arm, the business entity arm, where we still help individuals, but organizations and the community on that arm. And then my third brand is that I'm an executive director and founder of Hope for Humanity, which is my nonprofit, which you know about. And so this is where we help the homeless. We also have Motivating Minds, which STEM students. So we help with STEM and financial literacy and coaching and development for kindergarten through 12th grade. So we help with after school programs. And like I said, partners like the Boys and Girls Club. So we help facilitate those programs for the youth. And then our Give and Hope Reentry program is to reintegrate those homeless citizens that we work with back into society with wraparound services like, training programs, jobs, employment, and food, and some of the essentials that they need to kind of reenter back into society as well. So that's what made me focus on, again, empower people to love others through the community, and then empower people to, again, focus on their health. So that's where the three brands come from.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
My goodness. You are power packed. What? Just from one, as you're talking, just from one seed of you saying yes to your gifting and your calling and the passion.
Yes.
All these things out of that seed of your yes.
Yeah.
My goodness. I mean, did you ever imagine that all this could come from, because if you stayed in corporate America and keep doing what you're doing, none of this would have come to pass, right? And I'm sure there's more coming. Yeah.
It is actually.
So what will you say to someone? I mean, because that, that is still maybe holding on to, the thing that, they know in their heart of heart that they're called to. What will you tell them that, what can you say to someone to just encourage them to just take that step? You eventually left corporate America. Mm-hmm. At what point did you, first of all, when did you leave? Is it after you started the coaching? Or you were still doing it part-time and doing corporate full-time?
Right. So In 2017, that's when at the end of 2017, so December is my anniversary with the Source of Hope. And so I actually opened my company at the end of that year. I didn't leave Coca-Cola until 2019. So I did work the business part-time,
Okay.
which what I would encourage everybody to do, unless you have like seed investment money to make sure that you are able to fully leave your full employment. I would just say definitely do it part-time to also build your business, understand your business, know how to grow and expand before you actually jump out there full-time. Because I'm a first-generation entrepreneur in my family. So I didn't see this. Like both
Really?
parents, they just retired, from their companies 30 years in, 35 years in. So that was actually the trajectory that I was told. You go and you get a good job and you stay on that good job, for years.
Yes.
But I knew I was called for more. And so I didn't have a model. This is just, I am the first generation entrepreneur in my family. So
First.
it's just definitely God that
Have
has
you
kept me on
always
the
been
journey.
like this, Benita? Little Benita, young girl Benita? Have you, what?
No, I just think it just came like later in life. I just knew I wanted more. And when you have a void that you feel like you can't feel or whatever, a job, another person, no one else can do that. So it's just like whatever God has in you, He wants to put something in there so you can pour into others. And that's where you're going to fully evolve and get your purpose. And, to answer your question about what would I tell someone, again, much to what I alluded to earlier, is that your purpose can't just be about you. Your purpose has to be about the other person. And if you can think of two things, and I remember these two things that stuck with me, Dr. Miles Monroe mentioned. One, you never want to rob a generation of your gift. Because if you do not produce your gift, you have just robbed the generation that you are part of the gift that God has given you, what you was born with. And the second thing he has said was that the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because a lot of people died with their gifts and they never had the opportunity to manifest them, to serve people with
Yes.
the gifts they've been given.
Wow. Wow. What part does your faith, I mean, I know you're a woman of faith, but do you ever have doubt? Like the things that, as you're birthing one company after the other and all that, and God said, okay, I want you to do this now or show you something. Are there doubts that you need to kind of navigate in a place of prayer and faith? I'm like, God, are you sure? Do you ever have that? Or you just like, God, you said it, let's go. What?
I think at the beginning, which most people, because with me doing business coaching too, a lot of people think it's just about money. And I think initially you feel like you need money, you need something to get started. I think that's
Yes.
one of the biggest challenges and barriers that people face when they're trying to do their business or do their purpose. And how can I do this? But honestly, once I found out that when something is in God's will, it's His bill, He's going to pay for it, then you can move forward with it. So
It is
there's a
God's
lot of things
will.
over the years that God has said, okay, you need to do this. And so I've had to do it in faith. But I know if He's telling me it, I have seen the evidence. And so one of the things that my godfather would always tell me, look back down memory lane. And when I look back down memory lane, I see the blessings of God. And one of the other
And
things
his
that He has always said,
faithfulness.
have you ever been down to your last dime? Has there anything God has done that has not moved forward? And so again, those things that has been brainwashed to me over the years is things that keep coming back up in my mind to remind me, even if doubt wanted to seep in, I have too much experience with God. I
To
have too
pull
much
on.
I have too much experience to look back to see where He's brought me from. And even when I didn't have anything, I still see how God blessed me. When I went through a season of dryness, when there was no contracts, it was after the pandemic, all of nothing was coming. Couldn't pay my mortgage, all kind of manners of stuff was happening. But God was still right there. Without the money, I mean, people would just come up to me during the season. I said, because I'm such a giver. And it was the first time in my life I had ever been to a place where I didn't have. But even when I didn't have, people would just, call me or send me cash app, or I would have checks in the mail. All of these various things. Even people was telling me, you need to get a job, because now you know that you need to get a job. But I said, God didn't tell me to do that. So even in the midst of when I would have had a desire to go back to get a job, I just didn't. And God showed me during that time that He took care of me. So even during that season, I can truly say, my God, I have experience with God. So nobody can tell me nothing about God, what God can do. God can do everything with nothing for me. And I've seen it for myself. I've lived it for
God can
myself.
do
I'm a
everything with
living and walking
nothing. I
testimony.
love that.
So I know. That's why I said that. So again, I try to challenge people. Make sure you hear from God because
That's the key.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
family out of their fear, friends out of their fear will put you back in an environment that God didn't
Yes.
intend you to be in.
That's so true. That make sure you're hearing from God.
Yes,
Because if it's his will, it's also his bill.
that's right.
He'll pay it.
Yep,
Man. And God can do everything with nothing.
that's right.
Wow. I believe, God still has greater for you. He's still, So do you have people that are working for you? Because, I know you have, family and all that stuff and doing this multiple. How are you able to navigate? Do you have people that work along with you?
I do. That was actually a long-term vision of mine, and it just came to pass really last January, I would say, that I was finally, well, no, I would say the end of 2024, I was finally able to hire contractors to do the work that I had been doing. And so my long-term vision has always been for me to get off of the business, and my goal was to go get the business, and so then I can hire other people to do what they love to do, because I know a lot of people want to have a start. So one of the things that the way I give back is that I want to go get the business, not only to help people make extra money, but also kind of put their toe into doing what they love to do until they can get the motivation, to really step out themselves. Because I also say that a lot of people don't want to own their own businesses. They just want to do what they love to do.
Yes, that's
So
true.
one of the things that I asked God, I said, you know what, when I get to the point of, being able to do this, those are the people that I want. I want them I love for people to live their passion, because one of the things I always tell people, what I love about not working for corporate America is that I don't have to look forward to the weekend, look forward to my vacations, or dread Mondays. I get to do, not have to do, I get to do what I do every day. And it makes a difference. So, I can just drop and help somebody at the drop of a hat because I'm excited because I get to do it, not because it's like, oh gosh, I have to go back into work on, all the stuff that I hear a lot of people say. And that's probably one of the biggest thorns in my side is I hate for people to have to do something that they don't like to do.
Like to do. So passion is, because we talk about freedom
Yep.
earlier. So now you have all the freedom. Look at God.
Yes.
Look at God.
Yes. That's where the freedom comes in.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I also believe you're coming back. We need to unpack a lot of stuff. Because I also, we might not get into it today, but I know when you came to share with Made for Ministry, you shared and you, actually taught us on limiting beliefs and all that stuff.
Yes.
That is something I want us to get into when you come back.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
You have a lasting comment that you want to just share with our audience today, if they're navigating, life, but they still, know that their passion and their gifting and their calling, they still want to be able to, do life, but also do what God has called them to do. What would you say? Word of encouragement?
What I would say is that the sooner you stop experimenting with your life, the faster you'll get to the freedom that you desire.
Stop experimenting.
Because that's what people do when they go from this thing to the next big thing, the next big thing. When you don't sit before God and you seek the purpose, you seek what He's trying to get you to seek the seed that you was born with to give to the world, you're experimenting. Let me try this. Let me try this. Let me try that. Oh, I think that sounds good. Oh, my friend doing this. So again, we chasing money. We're either chasing money or we're chasing an idea or something else that sounds good, look good, or because someone else is doing it, we feel like, oh, well, let me do this because. But a lot of people don't really take the time to really sit and figure out, what is it that I'm passionate about? What is my purpose? What do I feel led to do? So I would just say the sooner you stop experimenting with your life, the faster you'll get to the freedom that you desire.
Because purpose is unique. Calling is unique. So in order to be able to get what that is, you have to ask the person that, gave it to you in the first place.
And one thing about it, the blessings of the Lord will chase you down when you do your purpose. So that's what the word of God says. So
That's
again,
right.
instead of chasing money, chase your purpose, because once you are fulfilling purpose, people have to chase you down to the gift that God has given you. He will literally, one of the analogies was given one time is that if you have a bad toothache, you're not going to call your mother. You're going to call the
The
doctor.
doctor.
Right? You're going to call the dentist. It don't matter what that dentist look like. It don't matter if the dentist don't believe what you believe. It don't matter nothing. You're going to lay back in that chair, open your mouth and say, fix this
This
because,
now.
right, fix it now. Right? So again, because that's that purpose. That's that person's gifting.
Wow.
So the people are always going to come once you are producing the gift.
Wow. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
for coming
welcome.
into the room.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have you back.
Okay.
You coming back?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
As we close today's episode, I want to remind you what God has placed on your heart is not random. There is a purpose attached to it. And on the other side of your obedience, there's an impact. There's a life that is meant to be touched. I'm your host, Abi O Champion, and this is Activation Room. If this episode encouraged you, please don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who needs it. I will see you next time.